The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 10 preview picks and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Day merch sale. 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. And you only have about 48 hours to get on over there and take advantage. 50% off everything in the SGPN merch store. Act now because the sale ends Friday.
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football is a unique American experience. A game described by one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
I don't give a damn who you are. This is America, Jack. You know how to play winning high-dose football? Really, I don't get it.
Being played in the United States Football League.
Touchdown! Oh my God! Quarterback is toast.
We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a great deal more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL.
America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television.
That is football.
I'm like, spring football is going to work in America.
You play to win the game. And now it is time for our USFL report.
Boom! We are back on the UFL Gambling Podcast Week 10 preview picks DFS. Folks, I'm excited to break down these four games. Remember, you can watch this episode, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. We got a loaded slate. I mean, look, if all goes well over the next 48 hours, 72 hours, we'll have another regular season in the books. Which, some people have the naysayers out there that don't believe spring football can work.
Saying nay.
And we're about to prove them wrong with another season in the books. I saw Fox's.
Are we talking about us? We were the naysayers.
Well, you get a few whiskeys, start talking.
We're like parents. We just want what's best for them. That's why we're so hard on it.
Look, football is football, and I appreciate football. Now, could it be we're gonna nitpick because we love football, you know, and we've been nitpicking all year. All right.
Tough love. Yeah. A little more than nitpicking. We've been bludgeoning them.
Well, I'm thinking rid of these cockanimi 4th and 12.
All right. Let's not start that way. Here we are. Last week in the regular season, week 10 UFL. We got here. We got to the finish line. And second week in a row of back-to-back anticlimatics. But here we are. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We are at week 10, to be honest with you. It seems like we just started. Complaining.
It does, man. And last year we had two leagues, the USFL and XFL. The Jordan Forces has one. And look, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about all these games. But if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Nobody knows nothing. Somebody knows. Double the price, but no one touches Dundee.
Double that price, buddy. That's what I'm doing on these bets this weekend. I see Helms in the chat saying there's college baseball going on. Obviously, subscribe to the college baseball experience. UFC 302.
Yes.
The UFL. MLB, NHL, PLL. Is that what it was? PLL?
Yeah, Premier Lacrosse League as well, Helms.
Get in on that action. They
We
just
got
dropped
some,
an episode.
yeah, we got some locks on that opening weekend.
Yes, and CFL's about to be starting up. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. You might have just heard him on Sports Gambling Podcast talking PLL action. Give it up for Scumbagger Vance, aka the Bet Detective. CJ Sullivan, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Great to be here. Yep, I was just talking some face dodging and some definitely lacrosse. Helms, you guys, where can you find lacrosse stuff? First of all, we were just on the main show, and it'll be on ABC this weekend. They're coming out hot Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, and Bet Detective, I got to quote Michael. I heard him on a podcast, and I should know the way to pronounce his last name. Mulvihill.
Sure.
The president of Fox Sports, I believe, and he says, "How's the UFL holding up against other spring sports? Average viewership to date, broadcasters. So the NHL regular season averages 934,000 views per game.
Okay.
Well, the UFL regular season this year is averaging 916,000 per game.
Okay.
That's ahead of the EPL, the WNBA, and a few other leagues. So he says." Pretty good numbers. It's here to stay.
I mean, they got a product for sure. And even though they took a step down, there is a viewership and there is a desire and a demand there. Like we said, even with the live games, you look at St. Louis. I mean, they pack that fucking dome to the brim. And nowhere else do they do that because they want football. There's a desire for football. There's markets that want this thing, and so I think they finally have more of a longer term plan too.
Well, and also to me, they should circle that and say, why is it working in St. Louis and I guess DC? DC right. is just the Redskins have been a disaster, but with Snyder and the name change and all that stuff. But to me, circle St. Louis and say, why is it? Well, I think they had their football team taken from them. So that's why I think you might want to consider San Diego, Oakland.
We said Oakland is the perfect town for this.
Yes. And I would even consider, some cities outside the norm, like a Boise, Idaho, or a Salt Lake City, or, they don't have pro teams, but that they would kind of dig it. I think, Omaha or something, you know what I mean?
Speaking of college baseball, correct. Yeah. Salt Lake has proven they'll take it. They love anything their ways, any kind of entertainment, any kind of non-white person coming to town. They'll take it in. I do want to say real quickly, obviously listeners might want to know where our third party J Mark is. And I have an extra wide angle here. I'm keeping the spot empty right here. Like your guy, Jerry Glanville would have a ticket for Elvis. He'd got every game. You know what I mean? Have the empty seat sitting there. So I have this empty space for J Mark as once again, he's going through tornadoes in Iowa and rural Wi-Fi and the government funded internet and whatever the hell is going on there. I love getting it. We got a text from him. Let's read this text. It's just amazing.
Yes. Something about about the water lines or
J Mark texted us in the thread, the show thread. He goes, "Hey, some fucking water line in Des Moines broke, wiped a bunch of stuff, including the internet. Had to drive 20 minutes just to get a signal. I don't know when it'll be back, but you guys may need to roll without me."
This sounds like bullshit, right? This is he forgot it was his wife's birthday maybe or something
Well, he does have that whole area. Where in Iowa does he live? Although that famous that viral video, that guy whose house got destroyed by a tornado, then he asked for new golf clubs online to the newscaster. He said it was 4 miles from his house. So who knows? There might be a cowardly lion and a scarecrow and a wicked witch of the east blowing by his house.
Wait. So sell me on this though. The water line breaks,
right?
And it takes out the internet,
flooded everything. Well, they still have dial up over there, so they got ether cords and whatnot.
It just seems like I bet you he forgot it was his wife's birthday. He's realized, and she's like,
it could be that too.
Honey, we're going to dinner tonight. Oh, I forgot to tell the Bet Detective at Dundee.
Yeah, to be honest with you, who knows what the waterline broke actually means in J-Mark terms? That could be mean the wife is off the hinges, if you know what I mean.
Man, what a great excuse! Like, how does he even find that out? Like, how does he find out that it's some waterline in Des Moines? That's why we need the bet detective on the case here, because it just seems a little. If he doesn't have internet, then how the fuck does he know it's a waterline in Des Moines?
Well, he drove 20 minutes to get a signal too. Very Wizard of Oz like. He's trying to beat the tornado and just heading out of town to find a signal. What the heck is going on out there?
And I think he's like an hour or two from Des Moines too. So it's just not adding up. It's just not adding up, because you would imagine that going 20 miles out, you would still have no internet or no power. It's just not adding up, but it's okay. Bet detective and Dundee going to see you through.
Bet detective we let them paint themselves in a corner first. That's the first rule of detective. When in interrogation, let them talk. Let them talk. Right.
Buddy, we got games. We got games. We got a fire DFS lineup. But first, Saturday, 11 a.m. in Birmingham, Alabama, Penetrope Stadium. It would be amazing to see this game with the home field stakes on the line.
But scheduling conflict, you know what happens when a community college has graduation on the same week of UFL playoffs. UFL playoffs got to go.
And Michael Mulvihill forgot to mention that. You know where that doesn't happen? It doesn't happen in the NHL. It doesn't happen in the EPL. I don't think it happens in the WNBA, but yeah. Anyway, look, here to stay. Just not during Wayne State graduation or Wayne State Community College graduation.
Correct. Do they have a football team? Can we get some of those guys into these games or what?
Yeah, I mean, they need to be playing. I've always been perplexed why like Detroit and Mercy doesn't have a team, or like why is it no one's in Detroit playing college football? Why?
Yeah, city schools, they play more of basketball. They have athletes, but they don't have the teams. Kind of Phillies is kind of the same way. They have tons of basketball, and then like they have great athletes, but they don't have good football teams. That's like Western PA,
Yeah, but like the Northeast, they don't know college football. But I've always been like, wait, Michigan's like a college football state. They care about Michigan State more than they do the Lions.
Absolutely.
So it's like, what are you doing? Detroit, you can have your own little college team there, mid-major. No. Anyway, I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but the Stallions are hosting the Michigan Panthers, and Stallions are laying 8.5.
So we should address. Let's do a overall picture. We got two games that don't mean anything, and only one game really means something. But all four teams that are in the playoffs next week are playing each other this week in a rare double rematch.
Well, when you only have 8 teams,
right? I know.
Yeah, but yeah.
So Michigan's playing Birmingham, San Antonio playing St. Louis, and both those matchups will be repeated next week.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, and like you said, this one means absolutely nothing as far as home field because of the graduation. The second game does, but this one you have Birmingham coming off their sole loss in a couple of years, so you both teams don't want to, show their cards, if you will. I think Michigan will be on more lockdown mode than anything. They won't. I doubt they'll play Perkins at all because he's easily their best chance of winning. He's their best quarterback. He's got the dual threat. They're finding out just like Martinez. So I see Perkins shutting it down. I see Michigan shutting it down. I don't see them doing anything. That's why I kind of like the under. It's 43.5. I think both teams won't be showing a lot, but I definitely think Birmingham will still want to get a winning taste in their mouth, and I'll lay the 8 with Birmingham.
I'll take the points just because is Birmingham like they're not going to play Martinez, right? Or if they play him, it'll be very minimally.
And if they don't play Martinez, I trust Corral than I more trust
That's
anyone.
True.
Than
that
I trust
true.
Anyone Michigan's going to throw out there.
That is true, but like all right, they are coming off a loss. All right, you sold me. I'll lay the 8. I think everyone's. I did come into this week with the mindset of like the dogs.
Yeah,
will be barking, but no. Yeah, it's easy to see a tide turn. All right.
Do you agree? You agree with me on the under? I think the under is a better.
Under
play.
is 100% the play.
Yeah,
100% the play. Yeah. Okay, and then San Antonio goes to St. Louis. That game's at 1:00.
Yes. Now this game means something.
Yes, St. Louis minus 2.5 points. The over under at 42.5. If you want the Brahmas money line or plus 125, I look. You know me. I don't think the Brahmas are any good, so I am on St. Louis. Now, if Manny Wilkins ends up starting, then you jump on you almost. How serious do you think this McCarron injury is? You think he's playing?
I'd be shocked if they played him this week. Only because it's a game that, yes, they do want home field advantage, but they believe in Manny, and I don't. They're a completely different team without him. How badly do they want to risk it? I mean, it'd be kind of reckless to throw him out there, especially against San Antonio's defensive line and their defense. When they lead the league in sacks. Their defense is playing ferocious. I mean, yes, they have been a luck box all year, but their defense is playing good. I was actually surprised St. Louis was kind of favored in this game, just to be. Although, situation-wise, you have San Antonio coming off the big win versus Birmingham, but they look dominant in it.
Well, if Manny Wilkins is starting, you have to take San Antonio.
That's why
I think you wait to see it seems like on Fridays they've been releasing the depth charts.
Mm-hmm.
If that's happening, I think you got to take San Antonio.
Well, that's why I think you take San Antonio now. You take him now plus the points, and if they announce McCarron is playing, the line's not going to move that crazy. But if they announce Manny Wilkins is playing, only because St. Louis, yes, they want to win, but they also, much like a little closer to the earlier game, where they are playing each other next week, no matter what. So they're not going to want to show it off.
Well, what's hilarious is you're only playing for 1 week of home field advantage because the championship game is going to be
St.
home field.
Yeah. So San Antonio needs this game desperately more than St. Louis needs it. And even if McCarron does come back with that O-line and that bum ankle, that's the wrong defensive line you want to be going against. So again, I like the under in this as well, just like the first game. Two teams that don't want to show each other, and I'll take San Antonio with a couple of points.
All right, I'll jump in on San Antonio, but I'm taking the over. I don't think both these defenses are that good.
Okay.
So I think even if they don't they're throwing in the backups, I still think they'll be able to get some points. The Battle Dome is an advantage also.
They shut Birmingham down last week, though. I mean, you have to give them that.
True, but I mean, I just wondered Birmingham's motivational side.
Yeah, Birmingham got some mulligan for that for sure. First of all, it's their only bad game, only lost in a couple of years. But also, there was a situational spot too, and they weren't motivated. So I'll give them a mulligan, but they were trying hard again. I mean, and it's still something to say to keep them to single digits.
I agree, but I mean, I would like to see. I wish it was like 2 weeks before that,
for sure.
Then I would buy it 100% as real. But I look. Unless you see the depth chart with McCarron started, that's the only way that I would take St. Louis.
To answer your question earlier too, I think that ankle is really serious. And even if it's not an ankle injury is nothing you just shake off anyway and come back and just be fine with it. That's something that lingers.
But I mean, San Antonio lost Latimer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big hit. But McFarland's rolling since he's coming off IR. I like the way the San Antonio team is playing. I mean, it's hard to, you got to get that image of the first 8 games out of your mind.
Yeah, even last week they used a trick play bullshit touchdown. You know what I mean?
Don't you call son of a bum cha now?
This is bullshit. You get this 15-yard penalty, extend the drive, get another score, but their defense didn't look good. The defense to quote son of a bum, they look good.
And that D-line's been good. That D-line's been good all year. They've led the league in sacks from pillar to post.
Yeah, they do have one of the better defensive lines. Folks, I want to tell you, you're listening to the UFL Gambling Podcast, and the college baseball tournament starts tomorrow, and Noah Beanick has you covered with the college baseball experience. Plus, hop in the college baseball bracket contest for a chance to win a $200 SGPN gift card. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. Plus, once again, we're giving away, mega Memorial Day merch sale going on. 15% off everything in the merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Get yourself a Bet Detective t-shirt to head to the beach with this summer. Jump on over there. 15% off everything. You only got about 48 hours. So do that. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here. Our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting for you. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports play, and their pickup game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and much, much more. You can make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter, and it's a ton of fun. They got UFL action. Jump on over there. Underdogs available in 30 states, more than 30 states, including the great states of California and Texas and even Canada.
Yeah.
So often I get comments saying, "Oh, I can't bet in Canada." You can here. And then people will say, "Well, you can't bet props in Florida." Well, guess what? They just launched their champions, their player for player format for the great state of Florida. Hop on over there, sign up. And when you do sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCE SGPN. All right, we are back. And yeah, it seems like the biggest game of the weekend is Saturday night. They did a good job not fucking that up.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't play that at the same time as another game.
Regional.
Yes. Sunday, 9 a.m. in Aldi Field. There's a lemon party going on, and Greg Williams is saying, "Hey, got another day to coach football. We're not quitting. You saw us last week.
Love it."
Now the red hot Arlington Renegades in that cha-cha-cha offense that you love. With Luis Perez, taught himself how to play quarterback on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Arlington's catching 2. Does this line stink to high hell or what? So I
don't know what to do. Yeah, this is my favorite game of the weekend.
DC's favored. Like,
yeah,
I understand their record's better, but like not from the number standpoint. Arlington just beat, one of the best teams in the league. So it's like. But I'll take Arlington, even though actually, I don't know. Actually, the more I think about it, you know what? Give me DC. This line stinks. Give me DC.
I kind of agree. Bet detective style. There's something fish. I'm fishing out these lines, these bad lines. I'm snorting these bad lines out, if you will. That's how the bet detective. Or sniff it out, snort it out. There it is.
Oh, there you go. This is the Marion Barry game of the week right here.
Right. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, Arlington all day. It opened up at +3. It's now down to what, 1.5? Is it?
Yeah, 1.5 and 2. I see 2 out there at another place.
Either way, yeah. It makes kind of sense. But this is, you kind of talk to me. It's the last party at DC, the last beer snake, the last lemon party. Greg
doesn't quit, man.
Right. Greg does not quit, but his defense has. They're terrible. That's the only thing. So I think it's going to be fireworks in this game. I love it. We're going to talk about that when we get to DFS. This is my favorite game of the weekend, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be entertaining. 2 teams that do caution to the wind. They have nothing to lose. Who cares? They're not really playing for anything. And they both had disappointing seasons. I think Arlington, though, is the better team. Obviously, we've watched them all year. Results have just been terrible their way.
I think everybody knows that, though. Why aren't they favored?
Right. Well, because DC still has that. DC did have that bounce back last week. Granted, it was against Memphis. That was the problem. Although, as predicted, everyone gets right against Memphis. Arlington looked good against St. Louis. Now, granted, St. Louis's defense, which we didn't talk about last game, their defense has been slacking the last 3 games.
Yeah. I'm taking DC. Because I think DC will. Arlington's kind of been horrible when they've hit the road.
Yeah.
But B, I think DC found something a little bit last week, and I also think they're a more physical team than Arlington. They're going to bring that physicality to them. Arlington's O-line has been a problem all year.
Yeah.
Now I get it. DC's D-line is not spectacular, but Greg loves to blitz.
Let me throw this at you. He does love the blitz. Perez does not handle the pressure well. But if he does get it off to the perimeter, they'll big plays. And I see Arlington scoring a lot of points on them. This is the XFL championship revenge game.
That's right.
Of course, they already played earlier in the season, and DC won by 1. And that also some bullshit. This started the Arlington bad luck box situation. Remember? This was some DC bullshit. So they have revenge going on that as well. Perez, dare I say, if things went another way and Arlington was in the playoffs, which they easily could be, Perez might be an MVP candidate.
Oh, for sure.
Martinez.
I mean, look, J Mark's not here. We can call a spade a spade. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I know. I mean, YouTube or not, this guy is fucking slinging it. So you know what? I just talked myself into it. Give me fucking Arlington. Either way, I think the over is the play in this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I love the over. We're agreeing on the totals. Love the over. I will take DC because I don't know why they're favored. That's part of the logic. And at Aldi Field, they've only lost one game. So
yes, but they're not. Well, no, a couple games they lost. They got buried by St. Louis. Michigan beat them.
Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I am curious the fan turnout because with them eliminated, I don't know that they'll have much of a home in.
I think that beer steak brings them back. I think that one last game there in DC, one last chance to see some real football teams out there to compete. And I will say, I'll give you this back with DC, Reggie Barlow will have them playing. You don't know that with Arlington. Arlington sometimes have absolutely quit in games.
Arlington is the clue of this game. You know, like it's a true fucking mystery if they're going to show up to play. That's why I'm taking DC.
You know, that's a good call on that one because they had their big game. They beat St. Louis last week. You know, whatever.
Yeah, and I do think that Greg can shake it up a little bit, put some pressure on Luis Perez, make him pay. I love the over 2. I just realized that I've gone with 3 favorites, even though I said I think dogs are barking this week.
Dogs are barking, but give me all 3 favorites.
and they're not barking here at the Liberty Bowl because the Houston Roughneck actually.
No, I talked you into San Antonio. Remember?
Yeah, you did actually. There you go. There you go. That's my dog for the week, San Antonio. Because Houston going into the Liberty Bowl, get your freedom fries.
Yeah, so this is what we're doing.
I mean, this nightcap. I mean,
this line should be 12.
Nolan Henderson looking great. The former Delaware Blue Hen.
Love them. They're running a Delaware wing tee. They should run that.
They need to get that going. Marcus Thompson, is he retired? Is he not? We'll see in the end zone this Sunday when he scores.
Are you surprised? Or I know you're probably disappointed, but are you surprised that some team hasn't done that? Like come out in one of these leagues and run like a wing tee or some fucking kind of veer formation, you know?
I had mentioned this to, I think it was Kramer, Sports Gambling Podcast, that to me, this is one of the reasons why these leagues, in my opinion, they're not very smart, especially like this is one that's, ran by a TV, network essentially, where it was by Fox and now to me, that's like getting your watered down. Like,
I agree. Why do a dollar store version of the NFL? Don't just copycat them with a worse version of it. Do things that they don't do. That's still innovative and still football that old heads would love and purists would love. Like the wing tee is perfect. These kind of offenses.
It's not only perfect, it'll work.
Yes,
it'll work.
And it's fun to watch too. You know what I mean?
I think they should. I mean, they're trying to make it too much like the NFL, in my opinion. And it's not only this league. I'll say the USFL and the XFL the years prior. That they're chasing the NFL dream there, and I think they sell themselves short a little bit because to me, if you have there's some coaches out there that to me really can do some innovating stuff.
Absolutely. And that's where all the innovation is coming from in college. The NFL is 5 steps behind the college when it comes to the offenses and spread offense and things like that. I mean, and I think that's probably the problem. We just talked it out right there. They're selling the dream to the players that you might get to the NFL if you could have good tape, and you can't do that if you're running a wing tee. They want because the
not
NFL
necessarily if you're Marcus Thompson, you might be
right.
Yeah.
But the NFL, they're so closed-minded, they can't see beyond like why, that won't regulate to our league because he doesn't throw just like we throw. Like, you know what I mean? They hate spread offenses in college. They feel like they have to change the entire system.
Well, to me, like that's on the NFL to adapt. The
Absolutely.
NFL didn't think Doug Flutie could play for like 20 years, and then he plays and he's in the Pro Bowl his first year in Buffalo. You know 100%. What I mean?
100%.
So
Warren
like,
Moon, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but to me, I would get way more creative. Remember, I know me and you were talking in college football. I think it was a year and a half ago about the stuff that William and Mary's been running with their 2 quarterbacks on the field every single play, stuff like that. I think that they sell themselves short from a league standpoint, or just having a team run the option, or go and all out, and another thing is just get better coaches. I think if I had to me, one of the weaknesses is you're just putting to me, guys that I don't know that are qualified. And that's the XFL really suffered from that last year, I thought. But yeah, it's something I would like to see. I don't know that anyone will listen to me though. But anyway, I'm all over Memphis. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm all over Houston. And Memphis is starting Josh Love. I did see that. The former San Jose State Spartan. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how anyone wants to play quarterback behind that offensive line. And I actually think Houston's defense, stats can be, I quote stats a lot on here, but it can be deceiving sometimes.
Right.
Houston's on the field 90% of the games this season. I feel like that defense is better than the stats represent. So I do think Houston's defense can really make Memphis pay there. The question is can Houston not shoot themselves in the foot on offense? Because that's really been the problem all year. Really, if you look at the games they've lost or the teams that they've lost to that they shouldn't have lost to, they turn the ball over, they miss field goals, they're bad penalties at bad points in the game, or at key points in the game, and but I'm gonna take Houston still. I think Houston's a much better team than Memphis as far as the way and to me Memphis looks like they quit. So.
Oh yeah, this is my play every week. Whoever the fuck's playing Memphis.
I'll take that under though on 44.5. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it makes sense on paper, but I'm done playing unders with Memphis with that defense, with that Cornell Lake defense. They're fucking brutal. You look at teams like DC's putting up 40 on them. These teams are just rolling points on these guys. Yeah. We should talk about this game a little bit. Not only this is why I love Houston. This game. This is my lock of the week, by the way. First of all, it's a revenge game. Memphis' only win was the first game of the season versus Houston.
Let's go.
You do not want to get swept by this horrendous Memphis Showboat squad.
Both coaches are gone, right? This is the one.
Got to be gone. Yeah. But if you get swept by Memphis, there's this. Don't even get in the lock. Don't even get on the bus. You are take your shit and get out of here. But we should say this is the Tank Bowl as well. They changed the rules now. Whoever wins this game gets the number 1 draft pick next year in the draft. So instead of who has the worst record, so you would lose on purpose. They did an interesting thing here where the 2 worst teams are playing each other and the winner gets rewarded with the number 1 pick. Something Sean Green pointed out. I don't know how kind of motivation that is. Hey guys, if you win, we get someone better to replace you.
The fuck is that?
Wait. But here's the problem, man.
Yeah.
I have zero confidence that these what does the first pick even mean? You had Bryce Perkins just sitting out there. You know what I mean? You had a lot of guys, a lot of talented players. Was it Bo Scarborough who had 1,200 yards?
Right.
He was just sitting on the side. Just saying, oh, I remember Birmingham signed him in mid-season 2 years ago. And you're like, wait, what? He's available. He's better than the whole league.
Sure.
So
signability is very important with having a draft pick. It's kind of like baseball, availability, finance. Who knows if you draft a Max Borgi, then he's like, yeah, no, I want to go be an accountant somewhere. Anything could happen.
What the fuck is that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. DeAndre Johnson, we saw for the Generals last year. He was a good quarterback. Very I'm shocked he's not in this league.
Right.
You know what I mean? There were some other quarterbacks that I thought played decently in previous years that I'm like, wait, why the fuck are they not in the league? And that makes me think, and especially when they tried out EJ Perry or some of these guys where I'm just like, wait, they didn't, unless they didn't want to play football, which is possible. They might've retired, but when you see Bryce Perkins just get signed and he's like, and they interviewed him on the side, one of the games, and they're like, yeah, what were you doing? He was like, I took the year off, but I wanted to play the whole year. So it's like, no, he didn't just decide he wanted to play. So someone failed. And when I mean someone, I mean every damn general manager or player in the goddamn league failed.
All right.
So I don't know if the first pick means anything, in my opinion. Like, I guess Matt Corral was the first pick of the whole draft. Adrian Martinez is better, right?
Sure. And the players never care about the number one pick. That's all management stuff. You know what I mean? Like management, coaches, or whatever. First of all, coaches, none of you are coming back, so don't you guys worry about it.
Tony Meatball will be back just because they love him.
Right. Yeah, well, of course, Tony Meatball. I'm just saying between these two teams here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So why do they care?
But the players never care about that because they don't know where they're going to be next year. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they don't even know that Houston will be back next year. That could be
for sure.
Fucking Minneapolis.
Either way, I like Houston in this game a lot.
Yeah, I'll take the under, and I agree on Houston as well. Lock and dog out of all of them. I think you've already kind of tipped your hand on this.
Mm-hmm.
You're locking up Houston -2, correct?
Locking up Houston -2. Love them.
I think I'll join you on that. I think that's probably the one that makes the most sense. How about let's lock up a total? What's the total you feel best about?
Woo-wee. Well, I'll say the under in that Michigan Birmingham game.
I'll say the over in the Arlington DC game.
I like that too. One thing I didn't say that about that game is the reason why I'm another nod to Arlington in that side. Arlington's defense, which is terrible. They do lead. They're good at one thing, and that's intercepting the ball.
Yeah.
They lead the league in interceptions with 10. Tamu, of course, leads the league in throwing interceptions.
Well, pick sixes are points, though, buddy.
He's very careless with the ball. 9 interceptions. So, no, which I mean, no, that goes for the over, but also goes towards Arlington. And Arlington defense is sneaky DFS play, too, by the way.
Ooh.
Because of that.
Yeah, I'll take the over in the DC game, and then for the dog, I only have one dog, so I got to say the San Antonio Brahmas and their cockanimi trick play bullshit. It's gonna work again at the Battle Dome as long as AJ McCarron doesn't play. You have a dog? You took a dog, San Antonio, right?
Oh, I have San Antonio. I have Arlington. I like San Antonio there. Listen, and that St. Louis defense, like we said, they were great. Very good most of the year, but their last 3 games, 29 points a game, 330 yards a game for the last 3 games. They've fallen apart.
Yeah.
Hello, you play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
That's the theme of this weekend. You play to win the game.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Look, before we get to DFS, I want to tell you that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. It's bobsled time. If you're betting on the NBA, you probably should be betting on NBA player props. And if you're doing that, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in a matter of seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally make your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll through a sports book. So what are you doing, folks? Start a free 7-day trial and start winning with NBA player props with Rhythm. Available wherever you get your apps. All right, we are back on the UFL Gambling Podcast. It is time for DFS.
And you hung in with the best college football team in the land.
Best football team in the land. And that's mine. Right here in DFS. I actually think out of all of the weeks we've done a DFS lineup, this is the hardest one. You got a lot of stuff pending here. Like originally I was like, well, wait, do I want to get some of these St. Louis wideouts? I'm like, well, I need to know McCarron's playing. If he's not playing, then what do I do there? Do you spend up? Do you take a shot on some younger guys? Did you notice maybe a different change in the philosophy there
for this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's motivation is obviously key, but we can navigate it. We've pinpointed a couple. I think the strategy this week is to lock in those other two games where we know it'll be freewheeling. I think there's some opportunity there, especially when it comes to that DC Arlington game because you have the DC receiver cores who are all cheap. You just got to guess which ones are going to be right. But yeah, you got to look at the injury reports and go with games that you know. They're just going to be out there balling out because they have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. They're not going to be protecting themselves like the 4 playoff teams.
Yeah, and that's to me one you want to circle here is
shout out to Sam Pierce who has won in DFS because of us. He says,
yes. He said
the only week he didn't, he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah. There we go. I mean, look, last week I didn't hit for cash, but I hit for cash. I at one point in the middle of the year. Or the beginning of the year. I feel like I had hit like 4 or 5 straight weeks. But I ate shit last week. Yeah.
Let's hit this week. Here we go. Finish out strong.
With YouTube sensation, Luis Perez at the quarterback spot for me. You too?
Yep. No, I did not. But I mean, definitely, he's definitely a route to go for sure.
Yeah. My thing is they're the best offense this week because Birmingham's going to rest the starters. So you want to get action. I'm on the over in the game. Let me load up on the YouTube god.
How much was Perez?
What was he? Hang on 1 second. Let me load it back up. For some reason. No, I'm seeing my lineup. It's just not letting me
Let me check here.
Why can I not see this right now?
I have lacrosse MVP numbers coming up.
Hold on, I'm entering it. What the fuck is happening?
That's all right. Let's find out.
Well, no, even worse is I can't even see my lineup now. It keeps booting me out of the app right now. Loading error.
I'm getting the same thing. You're right. What's going on here? Oh no, maybe not. Here we go. Great lineup. Luis Perez is 9,900. Great choice. That's still pretty reasonably priced. AJ Martinez is the most expensive. Then McCarron, Chase Garbers.
How'd you get in there and see that though? It's still not letting me.
I just added up a new lineup. I just went to it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Luis Perez there at 9,900. I took a little swing. I went for a complete $1,000 cheaper at 8,900. Going with a mini hot hand here with Nolan Henderson for those Houston Roughnecks, only because they're playing a horrendous Memphis fucking showboat defense. Everyone eats, Ben DiNucci style. Everyone eats when you go to Memphis barbecue.
My problem is he might run for a lot of yards, but even last week he played good, but it's not like his completion percentage was amazing, but he is playing Memphis. He is playing Memphis.
And that's what I'm going purely on. Going against Memphis. I can stack it up. I believe everyone would have either Tamu and Perez. You can't go wrong with either one of those guys. I'm trying to roll a dice, see if I can get lucky with Nolan Henderson.
Yeah. All right. Well, my top running back, or my first running back, it's not my top, I believe, is CJ Marable.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I thought about not playing him, but then I'm like, someone's got to. They if it's Corral, they're gonna be in the red zone still. That's why they rush for so many touchdowns as opposed to other teams. So it's like the person starting, Marable's the backup. I'm assuming Marable might get more reps because of that. A little bit of a gamble.
And Marable's got to work his way back into, starting playing for him, get his sea legs back under him. You're certainly getting him at a deal. He's at 7,600. Ricky Pearson's now at 7,800. So there's pretty much equal split. Yeah. Like I said, that game I try to avoid. I just don't know what's going to happen in that game. Who they're going to start, who they're going to shut down, what they want to show. It's tough.
Sam's going with Marcus Thompson.
Love Marcus Thompson. Love that. Get all
parts. That
does
make sense too, because that defense is so shitty in Memphis.
Yeah, get all parts of that, Houston. Get everything you want. So Marcus Thompson, I love that play. He is 8,000, relatively cheap. 200 more or 400 more than Marbley for sure. Crying out loud. I went pretty expensive. My top back 9,200. Anthony McFarland.
Woo! I got him on the
flex.
Yeah, on the flex.
I mean, he's the best. Like you said, when he's out there, he looks like the best player in the league. He looks like a man amongst boys. Since he's gotten off the IR, his last 2 weeks, 251 total yards, 2 touchdowns. That's 125 a clip averaging. And this is a game, and this St. Louis defense, like we said, has been broken down the last 3 weeks, giving up 330 yards a game. I love it.
Yeah, I got him too, and that makes it. I mean, like I said, and especially in a game they need.
In a game they need, give me McFarland.
Let's go. For me at the I have 3 running backs on my roster. Yeah, I took a shot. Who's the worst defense we think? Maybe besides Memphis? Arlington,
yeah.
Jump in on what's my guy name? Higgins for DC?
Yeah, Higgins for sure.
I wanted to say Darian Higgins. That's the Colorado Buffalo. Yeah.
Not to be confused with famous Crip Darian Higgins in the Colorado Buffaloes.
He's now running backs coach at San Diego State. Just
he
FYI.
is. God bless him. He wasn't a Crip, but there were legitimate Crips.
Yeah.
Or he used to gangbang. He used to throw fucking signs out on the cameras.
Dude, Gary Barnett was recruiting him I love it. And Gary Barnett and Bill. I think it was Gary Barnett and Les Miles. And they show up to his house, but back then there's no cell phones, right? So they knock and they want to make sure they're right. So they walk like to the next part of a block down to the payphone by a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And while they call him and his parents say like, yeah, he's here, you can come in. A drive-by happens right then and they hit the deck. But it's hilarious hearing their story of like, yeah, we were like suit and tie, just South Central, just laying down on the ground.
Come on, South Central. When there's white guys in suits, you back off for 5 minutes. Come on.
But no, so I'm going with Higgins. Who am I drawing a blank on his first name right now? Not Darian.
It's what is it?
Derek? Is it Derek?
No, it's Darius.
Darius Higgins.
Yeah, Darius Higgins.
Okay. Still doesn't sound right to me.
It is. I just looked at it. It's Darius Darius Higgins.
I don't know why. Sometimes you just say it and it's just like, what the fuck? But I just think Arlington's run defense is horrible.
Arlington's run defense is horrible. DC's offensive line is horrible, and they have not been able to run the ball all year. So something's got to give. I'm going to say it's Arlington's terrible defense. So I like Higgins. I tell you what, though, Sam Pierce has me thinking about Thompson. I need to sneak. I was
thinking about that too. It's like he's got a point.
I need another lineup with Thompson in there for sure. I went with let's see, is he your second back? You went there with Higgins?
No, well, my third because you played McFarland and I have McFarland.
All right, McFarland, Higgins. I have Henderson, McFarland, and my Henderson hookup, my number 1 wideout, Justin Hall. He's been tearing it up. He's an NFL receiver. He's at 8,800 against this horrible Memphis defense. I think they can hook up for 1 or 2 touchdowns. And Hall's just been he's been finding his groove. He's been also injured all year. In the middle of the season, he's been coming on, getting better each week. His numbers are getting better each week. He's the main target. He's who Henderson locks in on. So give me that.
For the most expensive, this was my hardest problem, I think, for the wideout spot, because my first thought was, hey, I'm thinking about getting Hakeem Butler or Ja'Cour Pearson, but then I'm like, wait, if Wilkins plays, they're going to be horrible. Latimer's out. I thought about, and that's another play I want to do later, but my point is it's a little trickier with wideout. We don't know if Perkins will play. So like Michigan's passing attack. So I actually think you got to stay in this Arlington DC game, but Peyton, the former Mississippi State kid with Mike Leach, is out. So I took a shot on Chris Rowland at 5,300. I know he's not my highest price, but I'm saying the logic was very challenging for me on the wideouts in this final week.
Definitely. I think all the receivers in this DC Arlington game are live, and they're all reasonably priced too. When you're looking at DC, you're looking at Brandon Smith. Yeah. He's got for 4,600. If you want to go dumpster diving, he had 4 for 64 last week and 8 targets.
Yeah. 8 targets. You gotta love that. Yeah.
You gotta love that. I mean, you can get all those DC receivers cheap. I went with Kiki Kuti, $6K. I mean, who's still very cheap. He's got the most talent of those DC. Besides now that Armin's out on IR, so I think he's a step up. Ty Scott, obviously, he's been their guy as well. You could go with him as well. But Kiki Kuti for $6,000, relatively cheap. He had a nice game last week. I think he shows out.
I'll tell you, and I like it. I like everybody in this game. Like I said, so I jumped on former East Carolina Pirate Isaiah Winstead, who scored a touchdown last week.
Winstead's my favorite play this week as far as price and what
4,300. Like I said, Payton's out. Jared Payton's out.
Payton's out.
Yeah,
it's going to be a heavy dose of Winstead, and he's only 4,300. He has to be in your lineup no matter what.
Shop till you drop, customers, because look, and then I actually thought about doing this, and I wanted to ask you about this, even though it's not. You can get who? I mean, I guess we don't know. We wait till you see the depth chart for sure, but Cody Latimer's out. It's gonna be what? Is it Austin Mack? Is that the tight end?
Yeah, I think so. For sure.
So he's $2,800.
Wow, that's great.
But they also have another tight end too on the roster, I believe. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to make sure you get the right tight end with them out.
Is it Austin Mack or Alizé Mack? I always thought it was Alizé for some reason.
You might be right. I might be thinking of why am I? I feel like, who's Austin Mack though? That's a college football player right now.
Yeah, he's
anyway. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, that's you have my lineup essentially.
I love it. I love that.
Who do you got left besides defense?
Like I said, I love the Isaiah Winstead play. He's my favorite dumpster dive at Arlington. Give me the other Arlington receiver too, Tyler Vaughn, 7,600 as a flex with JP Payton out. Tyler Vaughn, he's long and athletic as well. He just makes catches out there every week. It seems like that no one else can. Perez is going to be slinging it all day. I mean, like you said, just give me everybody in this game.
Yep. And but for defense, you don't have any more players, right?
I'm out of players. I went. Let's see, McFarland, Hall, Winstead. You're right. Kuti and Vaughn. Vaughn was my last player. Yep.
Yeah. Look, I know you were talking about, riding potentially DC's defense or Arlington's defense.
I was saying if you need the cheapest defense is Arlington at 3,400. It's not the worst play because of the way Toronto turns the ball over and the way Arlington are ball hawks. And they have the lead the league with 10 interceptions. They're going to get a few picks. They got a pick 6 last week towards the end. They scored 15 points last week. I'm saying, they're a bad defense yards wise, but they turn the ball over and they will get turnovers. So you're going to get points out of them. I'm saying if you need to get the worst defense price wise, don't be afraid to punt with the Arlington.
Well, I'm taking Houston though, because they're playing Memphis. That offensive line is horrible. And then they're going to Josh Love. It's not going to work. I got nothing against Josh Love, but I just think bad matchup. Who'd you go with here?
I went with Birmingham, 4,400. Like I said, I don't think Michigan is going to show any of their cards they can. I don't think Perkins plays. They're going to be afraid to do anything. And Birmingham's going to be a little angry coming off their loss. So I don't see Michigan doing anything. I love the under in this game. I think nothing happens. It's going to be very conservative. I think Birmingham has a chance to pitch in a shutout.
Woo. Hot take.
What was the score?
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
Like 20-13, right?
And it wasn't even that. I thought it was like 17-10 or something like
Maybe
that.
You're
wasn't
right.
It?
Maybe you're right. It was something.
Very low scoring and one score game.
Folks, that's our show. Make sure you tweet J-Mark. Tell him he's a piece of shit.
Hopefully his house isn't spinning around and going to land in the land of Oz. Hope he doesn't fall in some witch.
Right now, J-Mark's saying,
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
But look, we're just getting started. The playoffs are next week. Obviously, we'll be back Monday to recap and preview. Take a look ahead, quick little look ahead at the playoffs. Recap, power rank, the final power rankings of the regular season, and then the next Thursday we'll have the playoff picks, and that's us. Look, give CJ Sullivan a follow on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _ Check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast and like I said, the PLL Sports Gambling Podcast. He's loading
every
up.
Thursday. Every Thursday we're lax bros now, baby.
hitting sticks. You're hitting sticks over there. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. And then, I host the College Football Experience. We'll preview all 134 college football teams with a solo episode for each and every team in the land. I also host the CFL Gambling Podcast with that old waterboarder, J Mark there. So check us out, CFL Gambling Podcast. And Helms 22 said, I just placed those PLL picks. Let's fucking go.
Yes.
He says, go chaos.
Goddamn right. Carolina
there we
Chaos,
go.
Meanest team in the league, baby.
You all-American son of a bitch.
All right, folks. Until next time, make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast on VSiN Friday night. Looking forward to the games this weekend. Take care, have fun, and make sure you fuck with J Mark. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot.